Alright, welcome to Packet Tracer Activity 732, building the prototype network. So we have a network down here where the routers have all already been connected, and we have a switched portion of the network and a bunch of servers. So we are going to connect all of these together and set up the network so that we can look at just a few basic connectivity tests. So we have a Stadium prototype test plan installation checklist document right here. And so first what we're going to do is get our network set up just like this one here. So we'll start cabling them up here. This one is FA00 to FA01. This is the same thing, 00 to 01 with straight through cable. And we want to cross over from between the switches. So this is F3 to F1 and 03 to 01 over here. Uh, 02 to 02 between these two switches. And the same thing between these two. And number 6 comes over to the PC. We got 5 going to this server. Four to this one. And 3, I messed that up. This one's going down here. This one goes over here. And then switch 2 has 3 going to this one. 04 going to this server. And then 05 going over here. Alright, so we've got them cabled, and now we can do some colors just so we can see where our VLANs are. So PC1 here, and these two servers are in VLAN 23. These two servers are VLAN 22. And these last two are in VLAN 21. Alright, so we've got everything labeled and hooked up just like the diagram. So next on the list, we want to configure host names, interface IP addresses, default gateways on all the switches and all of the servers. So here is our list of interfaces. So let's do the servers first. So for server, Web 2A. The IP address is 172.18.23.3. Subnet mask 255. Default gateway is 172.18.23.1. Web 2B 2.18.23.4. So /24 subnet mask 2.18.23.2. And server DNS-A is 172.18.22.3. DNS-B. And now server web 1A. (172.18.21.3) /24.21.1, and our final server (21.4 /24 21.2). Alright, so we've got we forgot about PC1. So PC1 is 172.18.23.10 /24. Default gateway is 172.18.23.1. Alright, so now we need to host names, IP addresses, and default gateways on switch 1. So I'm going to bring out the script that I have prepared, which is going to do, we're going to go through this whole list to see what we're looking at for switches at least first. So the switches, we want host names, interface, IP addresses, default gateways, basic security, we want privilege mode, secret, password, and require to log into VTY. We want VLAN 21, 22, and 23 created on the switches, and assign proper switch port roles, and assign the VLAN numbers to ports that connect to end user devices. And then finally, we have some router stuff here. We'll look at that later. Back on the switches, we want to work on our STP, and we want to set the priority on switch S3 to be 4096, so it's the primary route, and 8192 on switch 4, so it's the secondary route. So if we go to our script, we'll see, so on switch 1 we want to enable configure terminal. Once you do that, you can do hostname S1, enable secret Cisco, which will make the password Cisco, but we'll encrypt it. And here's our line VTY base 4 for telnet access, and we want a password of Cisco on the telnet, and here's login, so it makes you log in. And now we are putting the IP addresses on the interfaces. So if you see on the switch down here, you've got the only interface that you have is VLAN 1. So I've gone to VLAN 1 and put that IP address there with the subnet mask, no shut, just to make sure it's activated, and default gateway of 18.2.1, which is right here. And then we create our VLAN 21, and then we name it VLAN 21. Same thing with the other two VLANs, create them and name them. And then we want FA01 and FA02 to be switch port mode trunks. So if we're looking at switch 1, where is switch 1? Okay, that's switch 1. So we've got 0/1 and 0/2 are switch port mode trunk, because they're going to the other switches. So they want to take everything from all the VLANs to the next switch. All the other interfaces are just accessing VLANs. So 5 and 6 are going to the pink, VLAN 23. 0/4 is going to VLAN 22, which is the blue, and 0.3 is 0/3 is going to VLAN 21, and we'd have to do a switch port access. So, and then you go to switch 2. It pretty much looks exactly the same, because they've got the same interfaces on switch 1. The same interfaces on switch 2 are going to the same places. So a lot of this looks exactly the same, except for the IP address, which is of course different. Then we go to switch 3. That's not connected to any end user devices, so after we've put the security on, VLAN 1, default gateway, we name our VLANs, but then all 3 ways, all 3 interfaces are going to be trunks, ports, and this is the one that we're trying to make the root bridge. So I just added spanning tree VLAN, and I just put a range on there, 1 to 23. Priority 4096, and then switch 4 is a lot the same, where the 3 interfaces are all trunk ports, and then we put the priority to 8192. So let's go ahead and drop those in. You can see how it's, I already did too much. It's just switch is the name of the port. That's why, or name of the switch. That's why we're doing the host name. And we can just drop all that in. And we'll just copy it and go to switch 2. And switch 3. And switch 4. So now what we're looking at for the routers is, where's the routers? So step 5 was configure interface FA00 on routers R1 and R2 with the IP addresses shown in the table. Seems like we did more than that. Nope. So you got the routers. Each of the routers has, well, these. We're only doing a router 1 and router 2 here, so they each have 4 interfaces. Well, I guess we're not worried about the top because the top of the network was already built for us, so we're just worrying about the bottom. So we are only worrying about one interface, FA0/0, on both of them. So what we're doing on router 1 is enabling, going to configure terminal, and I'm just going into that interface 00 and making sure it's not shut down, just opening it up. And then we're going into the sub interfaces so we can assign specific IP addresses. 4 different IP addresses to that one FA0/0 interface. So the first one is 0/0.1, and then you have to give it the encapsulation .1Q1, and the .1Q is the encapsulation that allows you to use VLANs, do inter-VLAN routing. So you have to set that up before you can, and you have to have it first before you can assign the IP address. So then we do that, and I've got all these IP addresses from this chart right here. They're all in there. So, and that's just all of them, just opening the interface, assigning the encapsulation, assigning the IP address and the subnet mask, and putting no shut, so that opens up that port, and doing .21 for, and this is VLAN 21, VLAN 22, VLAN 23. And then on router 2, it's all the same thing, just different IP addresses. So pretty simple for the routers, just assigning IP addresses, but you have to make sure to remember to put the encapsulation on there, or it does not work. So we can paste that one in there. Are we on router 1? Okay, I guess I can't paste so much. So Cisco. Alright, so we're configured terminal, so we can just go right into interface. And copy that. And then go into router 2. Enable. And copy that one. And let's see where we are. We've got 100%. We've got everything connected. Quite a bit of stuff. Quite a long script to get all that in there. But we've got it all in and connecting. You can go through then and verify manually that members of the VLAN can ping each other. The EIGRP tables are advertised correctly. But this was a long enough one. We've got 100%. Everything looks good. So that is going to be the end of this one. Thank you very much for watching.